Hello everybody, this is Sneaky the Lost coming back to you from Factorio with another um, rebuttal and alternative solution for Vechs to consider for his Let's Understand Factorio series, which again, great series. I'm not trying to bash him here, but there's a couple of things, especially with the last couple of videos I've seen getting inserters and belts hooked up that were well, I have an alternative method I wish to show. I'm not going to say which one is better or worse, but it simply is an alternate. So we've got our ore refining set up here. And then over here, Vechs, yep, this is exactly the same way Vechs does it. This is the most efficient way to do your green circuits, is you've got 3-to-2 ratio. And of course, I can copy and paste upwards indefinitely. That is absolutely agree with him 100%. That's how things should be done with that. However, gears don't need to go on your main bus because there's only 3 things primarily in the entire game that you're really gonna want to produce in mass that requires gears. One is red science packs. 2 is conveyor belts of varying sizes. And 3 is inserters. That's really the only 3 things you're going to be wanting to produce in bulk off of your main bus that require gears. And so instead of putting gears on my main bus like Vechs has done, well, first off, science packs take a long time to produce. Gears, on the other hand, take like no time at all to produce, especially not set up in the way I have here. So one of these things is going to be able to handle like a dozen of these red packs. So just put the gear thing here, boom. If I ever need to put more gears in, I can do that. I just pull one off over here, slap it over here, and then continue adding onto the bottom, and I'm done. It's not going to be a major issue. But you notice here, I've got the copper coming down off of here and running along here. And then this is an interesting setup here where you've got that one going down. And let me show you how to make that, okay? Because what it is you go that opposite of each other, and then you put the one going straight down and it'll stay put. Because if you try to do the one in the middle first, whichever one you got that going, and okay, yeah, they did fix that. Okay, great. So that's the basic concept here, to be able to load 2 belts into one on each side, like what I've done here with your copper and your gears. Because again, the consumption rate of these things is not going to be too high. You can afford to have both of these things on the same belt like this. You're not going to need to double your throughput for a very long time. So you can afford to do this. And then red science packs again are coming up, because that's what I always do. Resources down, output up. Back to the main bus area to go across. It's just simpler and easier that way. And you'll notice I'm deliberately loading this only on one side here, because the other side of this is where the green packs are going to go, and then your other 2 packs are going to go along this belt. This saves me having to do an entire second set of belts and an entire thing, because again, these things do not consume science packs very rapidly. And so you don't need double full belts with your science packs. It's just not necessary. So this saves space, it saves belts, it saves time. It's just kind of, more efficient. Now then, let's look at belts. Now, belts here I've done very, very straightforward, and again, very modular. If I need more gears, I can put in more gears to add to infinitum. Same thing with belts. And here's the interesting thing that I've done with this. As I said, the only 2 things you need gears for are belts and inserters. So what I've done is I've merged it with the iron plates up here, and that's just done right there. And I've got two inserters. One will grab a gear, one will grab a plate, and then output one belt. Done. You know, that's simple. Like he said, it's very, very simple, straightforward. And then I ran the gear and iron plate line up here, kind of not really busing it because it's going to stop right here and dead end at our inserter production. And you notice that I've also brought the circuit production up, because circuit production, of course, over here. By the way, one other thing is I've kind of got an inserter pulling off of this, and I've got this chest. Now, you'll also notice this thing. This X, fun fact, you know, Factorio life hacks, if you want to call it. This X, you can just click and drag, or click actually and drag. There we go. And then it'll say, I only want 2 stacks full in this chest. The rest of them, don't worry about it. Don't bother trying to fill up this whole wooden chest. This gives you a buffer without being stupidly ridiculous. Very, very useful if you only want a couple of stacks of something in a given inventory. So that's what that X does. Very, very useful. And I've given myself a buffer of these circuits because, as Vechs has said, we're going to need it. Same thing over here. I can just run over here and boom, I've got 100 belts. And then it'll refill for me. That way I don't have to sit my butt on the belt, holding the F key, waiting to pick up all of these belts. I just go over to the chest. And here's another one. Control, left click. Boom, I just picked up every belt that was in that chest. So whenever I run low on belts, boom, I've got more. Useful thing just for convenience sake. Now, let's get these inserters set up because he had kind of a hoopty design. I want to show you a little bit more efficient design. And really, the reason this design is so much more efficient is, quite frankly, this setup over here was set up to be more efficient. So now we've got all 3 items that we need. We've got the gears, the plates, and the circuits. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 of these guys, and then 1 of these guys. Erg. Grr, arg. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a space, and then we're going to do this. I mean, remember, space is cheap. We've got space, okay? And then, of course, turn you back into making inserters. Run the belt up 1 more. Actually, we didn't need to do the circuits 1 more, but oh well, I did anyway. Boom, boom, done. And then we just say output here and here, and the belt runs down here. And then we're going to kind of do this and another chest here, and then power it up. And again, we're only going to have 2 of these slots available. I don't want to have a big backup. But here's your inserters and your belts, fully automated. And of course, you can drag them off wherever you want to go. I'm probably going to be putting green pack production right down here. And then the green pack output is going to come up around here to go on the other side of this belt here. So putting it over here just makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, you know, what Vechs did is, you know, he explained in depth the concepts behind these things. but I think this is a far more efficient design. It is more modular. I can always put more of these things going up this direction arbitrarily large. However, as long as I've got the resources to feed it, it will be able to expand an arbitrary range. Um, and notice far less hoop-de-doop. I mean, this is kind of a little hoopty right here, but that's just a matter of preference. I could have had belts going off this direction and building it horizontal instead of vertical. But I really prefer to have all of my production going perpendicular to my main bus. That way I don't have problems of one construction running into another construction. So that's pretty much it for today. This is just an alternative design because you see what I've got here. Just to recap, I've got my iron coming over here, getting split off, going up here. And this is my gear assemblies. You notice I've got 2 inserters in, 1 inserter out, because it takes 2 plates to make 1 gear. So that's the ratio you're going to want here. And again, with the gear, the belts, it's going to be 1 gear, 1 plate is going to make a couple of belts. And that's actually 2 belts recipe, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so what we're actually going to be doing to maximize the output is 2 each. And, we're running low on inserters, so we'll just grab a stack of inserters. Love these chests, the way they do it like that. That way I don't even have to think about it. Just go over to the chest, grab a stack, and I'm done. And there you go. There's your belt setup. There's your inserter setup. And then, of course, your gear, your green circuits, exactly the way Vechs did it. Here's my load balancer right here. And then it comes down and across. And this is where it joins the main bus. And then it comes up here. And then up here. And up here to be able to feed the inserters. And then I could just bring the belts and the inserters down, split them off for my green science production, and if I need them to keep going down the main bus, great. Eventually I will want some higher tier inserters, because that's going to be necessary for the blue science packs is going to need the higher tier inserters. But that's, so that's something to keep on your, something to keep in mind. But this, I think, is a much more efficient design than what Vechs has done, just as an alternative. Again, not trying to bash Vechs here. He's really great. He's explaining the fundamental principles and the basics in a way that new players who might be lost are going to be able to comprehend, and I absolutely applaud that. Not trying to do things. I'm just trying to show an alternative method that I feel is a little bit more efficient. So, this is, it just gives you a moment here just to take a look at this setup here. As this is really the main difference, because, like I said, the circuit production is absolutely identical. So let's just giving you a minute here. In fact, why don't I go ahead and build a couple of lights here. And that way it'll be a little bit better. Here we go. Bink. Oh yeah, and putting in this space gives me room to be able to put in that light. So there you go. That is my gears, belts, and inserters right here. And that's really all you need gears for. Any other time you need gears, either it's going to be like manually crafted because you don't need many of them, like say the science places, the research centers, or it's going to be, something else of that nature where you're not going to be mass producing them off the bus. So there's really no point in putting it on a bus. You just needed to keep it localized. If you do need it later on, I think maybe the advanced inserters might need them, or the advanced belts might need them. If you're wanting to mass produce those, you can source those on site again with very, very little issue. You don't need to bus these around. That saves you a whole line on your bus, so you don't have to worry about those stupid gears anymore. So, this is Sneaky the Lost, signing off.